shift you have observed in how companies approach hiring?
Say that whenever LinkedIn, you have an easy apply, please don't apply. We don't build on skills, we build on education. So how many apps are there on your mobile phone?
Not the accurate number.
Yes. Out of even those 50 apps, how many do you use?
Probably 4 to 5 on a daily basis.
Excellent. Right? Then why do you have so many apps?
Then still push kids into safe careers. So what's the real risk of this mindset today?
It is basically a journey that you go along with them. It's not about the grades. The grades also do not give you an entry.
So what is your take on, the whole hype about AI taking your jobs? Hello everyone and welcome back to What's Different Now. Today we are in conversation with an HR professional who's worked across multiple industries. Someone whose journey of shaping her own career offers deep insights into how HR truly works and how it should work. Her story isn't just about recruitment or workplace dynamics. It's a reflection of how staying true to yourself and remaining persistent can shape not only your career but also your perspective on life. So let's dive in and explore her journey, her learnings, and what's really making the HR world different now.
I joined in as a trainer, I progressed to be an L&D head. And then when I left Telenor, I left as a people and organizational development head. Okay. And as they say, Telenor's culture is very unique. We were able to even have the least attrition of even 5% when we didn't have a license. Wherein the industry standards are way beyond 15%. It's telecom. And how we did it is only because of the activities that we did as a human resources function. Okay. And the leadership actually led the way. And we very well knew that in spite of losing our licenses, if there was ever that we had to get any information about the merger and acquisition of our organization, we were very sure that we will get it from the leader and not from the media. Correct. Okay, so, and the town halls were fantastic. Our leaders were fantastic. And if I have to say, if I've ever picked up any good attributes in my leadership style, that's definitely from Telenor. Hands down, Telenor, I can say. Telenor gave me an entry into organizational development. I am not a qualified MBA to be telling you that, okay, I know stuff because of my education. My experience is my education. Correct. Okay. So, Telenor is a Norwegian company. So, way they do it in Norway is completely very different. Right. Okay. And the way we used to have campaigns, the day we lost a license. So, we had a campaign called We Love Unino. Okay. It was like all employees, including our support functions, every department was out there on the street, going and talking to retailers, going and talking to distributors, talking to customers, saying that we are here to stay. Correct. So these campaigns actually made it more real because normally in HR, what happens is you see transactions. Correct. The more the events that happen are either during events, either a family fest or a ECF, like an employee communication forum or annual meet and things like that. Correct. But this was the first time we actually saw HR in action. Correct. How was it really keep motivated? How do you have employees believe in you? It's where they are literally putting the top of the values, vision of the organization. Correct. So when you look at Telenor, even today on the Telenor website, our values are very simple. Correct. It is as simple as we don't have lengthy statements. We had to keep inspiring. Correct. Okay. Be inspiring, keep promises. Okay. And these were very simple things which were doable for any employee. So that was the DNA of Telenor. So this taught me a lot. This was the first time we actually spoke about gender diversity and, we spoke about having women in sales, sales, which was a breakthrough for us because at that particular point in time, I'm not very sure if you would know, but sales in telecom is wherein you go to every Kirana store, you're mapped to a particular field. You're going into every Kirana store, you're selling their prepaid, postpaid, and their recharges. Okay. So this was a line of work where women are not very comfortable. So that's which we saw first year was, how do you actually absorb more women into sales? Correct. So we had a fantastic team which led us. The mentors were fantastic. We did a lot of gender diversity workshops, which was driven corporate at a corporate level of soul circles. And, that taught us a lot. So when we say in India, that kind of an exposure was rare. Well, so wherein we had a multinational way of thinking in an Indian domain. Correct. Was very fortunate to be a part of the journey, and we had Telenor we got merged with Airtel. So my second it just started again, and it was fantastic because it was a part of an M&A, and we were also observing Tata's at that particular point, Tata services at that particular point in time. Yeah, so it's very interesting juncture because when I was in Airtel, the first stint we had a big HR team. The second, there were only 3 people in the HR team. And my role, part of an individual contributor. Okay. And management development person for the circle. The entire paradigm changed. Correct. Okay, because, when I left Airtel, there were close to around 13 to 14 people in HR alone. To a lean, mean strength of 3. And for an organization as huge as Airtel, what changed? Correct. So that is when my entire transition into HR showed up in a very different way. Okay, so how do you work in a shared services market? Right. How do you still contribute effectively to your circle? So this is something my second stint there will start. So my first stint was predominantly in L&D. My second stint was into core HR. Right. So my organizational development bit at Telenor certainly helped this transition. Correct. Right. And since the telecom industry was going through all this, M&A and a lot of companies were getting things, I chose to move out of telecom and I moved into a consulting phase as well, wherein I was consulting with one of the largest contact centers in Hyderabad, which is HRH Next. I was fortunate enough to work with them for almost a year. And they were my clients with Telenor. Okay. Yeah, and I was fortunate enough, they were in their growth path. So they are one of Swiggy's largest contact centers. So I was fortunate enough to be working with them on automation bit for an application tracking system, giving them conceptual notes on HR policies and, how do you work on a concept for tenured employees. So that bit lasted for a year. And then I get into the right place at the right time, I must say. I got into healthcare. Okay. Healthcare in Jan 2020. And we all know what happened in 2020. Correct. I took some fantastic, I would say experiences, life-changing experiences during that time because pandemic, healthcare is a match made in heaven. Exactly. Yeah. So that's when Vijay Diagnostics happened. I joined them as a HRBP, but moved on to be a lead HRBP with them. And a lot of learnings at a professional level. The power of a family-driven business is something which I learned there. If you look at my entire transition, it's from a multinational company to an Indian domain and then into a family-led business, which went public limited during the pandemic. Oh my God. Oh yeah. And when like I said, sometimes you're blessed to get into opportunities such as this. We started automation when I joined Vijay Diagnostics. Okay. So January is when I joined. March is when we started off the digitalization for the company. We are a huge company and a fantastic leadership to work with. Right. Okay. When you say leadership, standing tall at the time of crisis is not easy. True. Tough decisions in healthcare when the whole world is shut down was not easy. Okay. And then going public limited is certainly not easy. Investor called it. So, and HR plays an important role when you're talking about such transitions. And I think learnings were huge. Okay, we were trying to go digital, wherein people have never seen automation in their HR by then, in that particular length of work. The second thing is also bringing in, working towards, going for an IPO. getting ready for an IPO, wherein the policies have to be in place. A simple dress code has to come in picture. How do you get it aligned? Especially in a case wherein you cannot really reach to the last mile. But the courage that we had, that we actually went to every single center educating people. And that didn't come easy. That came with a lot of confidence, even which the leadership gave us at that point in time. And after healthcare, I chose to go to Bangalore. And Bangalore was fantastic. I joined in with Bonito Designs as management lead. Life is good. Was started working parallelly into multiple projects, close to real estate, because this was a totally different industry. It was almost like landing from a maths class to a science class to an architecture class. So yeah. So the one thing which I kind of realized over a period of time is the only thing which remains constant is your domain knowledge, which is human resources. While a lot of people say, do you have relevant experience in human resource? I mean, in this industry, I realized that it's not too difficult. True. And what has had me going and growing is because I was able to adapt to the industries that I worked in. Right. So, my multinational experience to an Indian company and to, a family-driven business and working on an M&A to an IPO. These are some significant milestones would have not happened if I was in the same industry, if I would have say. Right. Yeah. So when I moved into Bonito, it was not easy. I would say it was very challenging because the line of work was completely different. And I'm not a very creative person on my head. I'm a very logical person on my head. So understanding the design bit was a learning curve, was not difficult though. But I had some fantastic friends who were nine head, and she helped me understand and maneuver through the entire thing and saying that it's not rocket science. Come on, that's fine. Let's go on. Yeah. So that's where your skill as a human resources person comes in, wherein saying that, okay, I need to understand my business. And that's where I guess the role of a HR VP helped me work to better stakeholder thing, where because earlier it was more like, transactions there. Employee will come, they will tell you your grievance and then you solve it. No. So in video diagnostics, that changed entirely for me. We realized that, okay, the employee will not come to you, but you will have to go to the employee. Correct. So that helped. And then Bonito Designs happened. And fortunately, good mentors that I crossed there. And my current state is also fantastic, a wonderful juncture that I am in with Sumodura and Shrikon, wherein I'm leading the transformational project on HRHCM, which we call Human Capital Management. Correct. I'm working closely with one of the big fours to, work on this project for the organization. So yeah, like I said, like this at the right time. It's broadly, in depth about my journey. So yeah, the best I could encapsulate in 27 years that I had.
Correct. That's amazing. You have seen all the industries almost. So great understanding, great knowledge, and we couldn't get a better person than you to have this conversation.
Thank you.
Yes. So as you worked across IT, HR consulting, organizational development, what's the big shift you have observed in how companies approach hiring?
I think, sometimes it kind of appalls me because, earlier hiring was very instinctive. You met that person in spite of him having a biodata or a curriculum. Correct. Now you didn't bother about what the resume said. Correct. We were more a touch and feel kind of a country wherein, we wanted to meet people to understand whether the chemistry is working, whether this person is suitable for the organization. The resume rejections were very less. Correct. While I would also want to believe, though there is a lot of buzzword on the ATS bit. Okay, say that the keywords only get selected, but I guess a lot of good profiles get rejected on that ATS based selection. Right. Okay. While yes, I understand that. Like I always say that whenever LinkedIn you have an easy apply, please don't apply. Okay. Because the recruiter goes through a huge amount of file of relevant and irrelevancy. True. So because in LinkedIn, what happens is it does not give you a keyword kind of a select to say that, okay, even for the recruiter, there is a filtering process. So if someone applies, it comes to your bucket. Simple. So if they had something which says, okay, this is relevant, this is not relevant, life for the recruiter is a lot easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the main change I see is a lot of CV rejections are happening. While the whole industry says, okay, you have to have a good CV and you have to have a well-drafted CV, I didn't find that working. To be very honest, it's like this. You have 27 years of experience. Man, can you put your CV in 2 pages? And like, it takes me 10 minutes to explain myself. How do I put that in 2 pages? Right. Okay. So the question is, there are a certain set of recruiters who read literature, a certain set of recruiters who do not read literature. For whom do I cater to? Correct. Okay, and if I have to talk about an experience level that we are talking for myself, how do you even, crunch it? Correct. I can't make a Lilliput of my CV. Then I'm eating up half my CV. So I think where that practice is kind of slightly unfair, probably that might be useful for people with less than 5 years. But above 5 years, I think the recruiter should give it a fair shot by at least calling the candidate to find out what he or she is up to. And, give them a fair chance to express. Because end of the day, putting a personality on a paper is not easy. Right. Right. And we are looking at skilled people and unskilled people. And not everybody is good with words. Very true. Okay, so yes, that's one bit I see. The second bit I also see is the visibility that people have on social media platforms. That is becoming a necessity, whether you are writing good things, whether you're writing crazy things, or you're having a point of opinion. I see that some of them actually do excessive publicity. And when you actually meet that person, you realize, oh, the personality that I saw on the social media and the one which I'm seeing is actually completely different. Someone who's totally not on social media throws surprises sometimes. So again, getting back to instinctive hiring, my vote would be definitely this someone has taken time to send you a resume. A 2-minute call is not going to be a big deal. Very true. So yeah, that's one thing which I would want to talk about the hiring thing.
Yeah. Fair enough. Like, even I've seen a lot of people, and also I feel that somewhere with this approach, we also can explore the cultural fit part of it. Right. Because most of the times, like, we go through CVs, we look at resumes, but how do you figure out if, that person can learn? Because sometimes a person who does not have that much skill or experience in that industry might still do very well when it comes to that job, because the adaptability and everything that you spoke about earlier, right, is much good. So, fair enough. Very, very good point. Actually, it's a simple thing, right? Earlier, the hiring used to be we had something called the KSA panel, the knowledge, skill, and attitude. Right? So, you will never get a candidate who's 100% fit. Okay, you're not going to get someone who's just going to fit into your jigsaw puzzle. There is a reason why you have a new role, or there is a reason why there is someone who has left your organization. Right? You're not going to get someone who's going to adapt, like you very aptly said, culture fit. How would you know culture fit based on the CV? Are you going to know with the kind of companies he's worked for? Or are you going to judge him because he's jumped multiple companies? Right. There might be multiple reasons why a person is shifting. Right. So that is possible only when you have a conversation. Very true. So, what happens is, on this point, if we discuss a little, that a lot of recruiters nowadays see this as a negative point in anyone's CV, right? That if you have jumped multiple jobs, that means you are not a person who's going to stick for a very long time. So this is also a thought process that is going around in recruiters' minds, right? Right. What are your thoughts on this? See, there are multiple aspects of the way you can look at it. Yes, from a senior leadership point of view, I mean, I'm a person who has moved across industries and organizations. Okay, there are reasons why people do it. Sometimes you get into a wrong place and you want to get out. Correct.
You do not want to have a long-term commitment when you don't see your career scaling the way you were probably told during your interview, or probably the ecosystem is not very conducive, or the industry is not doing great. Correct. Right? And when you're moving across cities, what happens is there's certain companies, certain industries which work in certain regions. Like Hyderabad does not have a big interior market. Bangalore does. Bangalore has got a bigger real estate market. Pune is mixed. Okay. So it is also saying that, okay, first of all, is you take a call based on what that person is offering you. You notice that this person has just moved out for money, then you have a decision to make. Correct. And we also know that there are certain organizations. Say, for instance, there's one organization we know for sure that if this person is coming from here, this guy is a Harris guy and he definitely needs a job. Correct. And you and we being recruiters, we know which are the companies which actually work, and why is it that there are certain companies we actually wait for people to come. Correct. And the other fascinating fact right now in the hiring industry is we don't want people who are available in the market. We want people who are not on the social media platform. That's right. Okay, it's like searching for Kohinoor, which is not in India. Okay, so जो बंदा निकलना नहीं चाहता है, we run behind that particular person. Okay, and we are not looking at the person who's obviously there, and we are not willing to take a, bet on him. Yeah. Okay, so it's always like this. No, in a relationship, you run behind something where that person is not easily accessible. And we are going through that trend right now in HR.
So, what would be your advice to also candidates that have switched a lot, at the same time recruiters who have seen such types of CVs? What would your advice be to them?
See, I think the first thing from a recruiter standpoint, give a call. Yeah. Okay. You, as a recruiter, you're supposed to be very instinctive. Correct. Right. You know the pulse and you know the industry well. If not for anything, you will at least get market insights when you're talking to a candidate. Correct. Okay. Today, what is happening is we basically do not like calling candidates somehow. Correct. On everything, trailer देख के movie hit है या flop है decide करते हैं. यहाँ पे तुम trailer भी नहीं देख. And the other thing is for the candidates, I think one thing which has worked for me when I speak to candidates, the only thing I ask them is, what is your journey? And allow the candidate to story tell himself or herself. Okay. There are reasons why people move jobs. Probably for the right reason, probably for the wrong reason. What if a candidate was laid off? Correct. You write on a CV that he was laid off. Obviously, no, right? A lot of people join startups, right? And the startups do not pay salaries all time. True. Okay. Is that the mistake of a candidate? How will you get to know if you're not going to talk to them? True. Okay. So again, for the candidate as well, I mean, there is, there's a bit on my CV wherein I've gone through a journey with the same organization in 3 different phases. Correct. Okay. So my first stint with Airtel, and then, moving into Bharati Airtel Services Limited, that was one organization. Correct. And then the M&A with Airtel, for me, it is one stint. Correct. Yeah. So when you are making a CV, at least at a senior leader, please be explicit. Correct. Sometimes it's always good to say that it didn't work. So, right. So I guess that conscious effort from the candidate is very important. And the conscious effort from the recruiter saying that, yeah, let me give you. Call to one pair. Right. So that is the very purpose of reaching out. Yeah. Again, comes back to the most fascinating question which you will have next is influence of AI into recruiting. We come to it. Yeah. So this I'll answer there. Right? So, from your experience, why do global companies invest more in retaining talent while many Indian companies still prioritize hiring? So, we see a lot of difference when it comes to IT companies hiring in the US and IT companies hiring in India. They really take culture, retaining talent, people very, very serious. And when we see Indian companies, this is completely opposite. Of course, we are changing with time, slowly. But why do you think this happens? See, I happened to read something about Korea the other day. Okay. Like I said, in Korea, apparently, if someone is joining an organization, he or she is living in that organization until they retire. Okay. Okay. However, even in Korea now, the trend is people are at least going to one or two companies in their lifetime. Oh, is it? Okay. So that's changing there as well. So when you're talking about cultural fitment, I think in the past, what was happening is there were a lot of people from India moving abroad for education and then for settling. The US and the UK was in the boom at that particular point in time. Right? But today, what is happening is you have a lot of people who have lived abroad who want to come back home. Right? And having said that, what is it that changed for India, or what is it that makes people change jobs in India? Is a lot of things. One is in India, we had a system for government jobs. Most of our parents, or my dad was from railways. So we had we've seen our dad working at meager salaries. We've seen, they had to take 50 years to make a mark for themselves in their careers. So the parents also came up with the thought saying that, okay, what I have done, my children should not do. However, when we started off, the private sector was very limited. Today's generation is actually very lucky because they're seeing the huge boom in jobs and jobs for every graduation that they have in the market. Like I said, we had BA, BCom, engineering or medicine. Today you have wine tasting, you have perfumery, right? You have an ACCA, which is an UK based chartered accountancy certification. You have Indian chartered accountancy, you have CS, you have law. We were not presented with a bouquet of programs, and all these programs have careers. Right? Correct. That is the biggest shift that has happened in our generation, or I don't want to sound ancient and extinct right now, but the thing is, it was very clear that here we have a quota system in India. And we didn't belong to that particular quota. Correct. So our motivation to even to get into government jobs was very limited. Okay. When we went into the private sector, we had to start humble. Yes. Okay. And we didn't have any guidance. Right. Okay. Now there's excessive information available on the net, but you do not know which is relevant and which is not. Correct. And which is valid and which is not. True. Most of the Gen Z parents will relate to this particular aspect. Right. So when you're talking about this entire thing, we are basically talking about why people are not sticking to their job is because there's too many options today in the market. अगर पहले घर पे खाना नहीं बनता था, okay, we anyways had to cook because restaurants were minimal. Eating in a restaurant was luxury then. Correct. I still remember in my house when we were little, we were also little by the way, and then I still remember monthly salary aata tha. So my mother's salary, we used to have one dinner, right, a restaurant, and that used to be a nice 3-star restaurant in Hyderabad. We had Basira that time. What used to be at dinner was puri bhaji. Right? After 2 weeks, when the monies used to become little, we used to go to Kamat's to have thali. Today, look at the options you have in food. Crazy. Right? So, in simple, options come tha, knowledge come tha. So we were also trying to hold, and everything was about money because private jobs did not have stability. Government jobs had stability, we couldn't go there. Right. Today, people are hopping jobs not because of money predominantly, but for work-life balance. Right. And that's a change that's happened after the pandemic. People have probably started appreciating life slightly. Right. But what role does a company play in this? Like, in the US, they prioritize retaining talent. But in Indian companies, the culture, talent, people part comes way later on. Right. So what's the role of a company? See, when you talk about in US and other things also, their culture is very different compared to us. So it certainly is not an apple to apple comparison. Okay. They work 5 days a week 25 years back. In India, the 5 day a week started coming only 12 to 13 years back. Correct. And that started off with the multinational companies. Earlier in India, HR was a transactional job. We used majorly payrolling, giving a letter, exit letter, and PFESI. Yes. The way HR has changed in the last 15 years and the way talent management is come into picture, organizational talent, the emphasis given on cross training, your L&D bit, has become very, very high in the last 15 years. Correct. And thankfully, call it a boon or a bane, the LMS or the learning management system, okay, wherein now, classically we are all challenged because we are more addicted to reels than seeing the whole movie. Right. Right. So these are things which came late into India. India predominantly, when you talk about HR, was more into IR, industrial relations. We were more a production kind of a country. Services came in much later. Right. Right. So 2001, when I joined Genpact, we were a part of the first few teams that joined Genpact Hyderabad. So, that was the first time we saw something this huge. Right. Otherwise, it was very limited. So, what is basically different between both the things? The culture is completely different. The reason why we work is completely different. In India, the job today is predominantly earning money, getting financial stability, getting social status. Where is your family there? Okay, in the US, they work only 5 days a week. Okay, and they ensure that Saturday, Sunday, they will not do anything. Right. And second most important thing, a journey and individual has in India is completely different to what it's in the US. Right. I'm very sure I might not have it in numbers, but the number of graduates that you have in the US and in India is definitely going to be superseded. Okay, we come from a thing saying that padhai likhai karo. We don't build on skills, we build on education. Right. Okay, I have a very close friend of mine who's currently in New Zealand. Okay. In both were on the same position while during my second stint in Italy. He chose New Zealand because of the work-life balance. He chose New Zealand because he could pursue his hobby along with his thing. He had a fascinating hobby of making, lampshades, glasses with beer bottles. Okay, and this is something which in India, today, if you ask me, you have multiple people, and this is what I'm talking about 12 years back. So today, and he loved carpentry. And in India, the way we look at carpentry is completely different. Exactly. Bhaiya, lads chadege aake lagao. Okay, so when you're talking about it, is that the lifestyle is different. The way we are prioritizing our education experience and our family is very different. Right. So one major shift that I actually see in India now is we are known to ape from the West. Correct. But now if you see, people are aping India. True. I guess that's the biggest paradigm shift that's happened. And talking about work-life balance and other things, India is still having a length to go. Right. So, yeah.
So according to you, when we speak about this Western culture adopted by India, right? Like learning and development, productivity, diversity and inclusion, right? All these policies that we have also started to adopt. Right. How important are these activities? How important are these activities for our organization, and what is the impact that they have on revenue and culture? At the same time, the retention of employees.
Okay, it's a simple. The only thing which I would say is, do you feel safe at home?
Yeah.
Do you feel safe going to office? Subjective. Right? So why do you have policies in place? Why is it that, we are talking about industries which are male dominated, where women are into now? Why is it important to get that balance? It is not about feminism. It is not about proving a point. It's about bringing the right thought process into the organization. Gender diversity is not about saying that, okay, my female ratio is less today, let me have more women working. It is about saying I need a mixed thought because my customers are not only men, my customers are women too. Correct. Right? So if I have to be successful in my business, I have to have both the genders equally contributing. Correct. Right? So that is where the fundamental thing of a DEI also comes into picture. Okay. We are talking about, I love the way Zomato does. Here. Okay. Talk about inclusion. They are a real good example. It's sometimes scary. Yeah. Especially when I see these people on the, what do you call that? The tricycle kind of a thing. I don't know. Surat. I feel very scared when I'm driving parallel. Right. So the only suggestion, if anyone from Zomato is actually listening, please put a flag so that we know that there's a vehicle in front of us. This is right. Okay, but this is important. It's like, why do you have a father and mother at home? Right. That's DEI. Correct. Okay. Second thing, what are we talking about? We are talking about learning. Learning is a continuous process. You learn watching videos. You learn with children. Okay. How important is it for the role? We are people like we say, we see before Christ, after Christ. Okay, we are that generation with phones, without phones. Right. We are a generation which survived even without mobile phones. Yeah. I still remember the first time I saw a pager, I was so excited. Yeah. Okay. So if you're not going to learn, you're not going to exist. I still see, my mom always keeps saying, though she was a school principal, she said, after you guys got into work, I realized that I just don't know the world you guys go to. Yeah. Okay, but today with my kids, okay, it's 27 and 24, I would not be able to say that I have to be a hands-on mom. Right. Not in terms of control, but the kind of exposure that children have, I might not have 100%, but that's become my conversation starter with them. So if today you have to relate to your children, you have to learn. Of course. Okay, you can't go and talk to them only about war or news or what you read in the newspapers. So how much you are learning even at office is what helps you connect with your children. Correct. So when you talk about these policies, like I said, they were slightly ahead of us. Right. Our education was only from college. Right. But this is the real time and steel time education that you're getting when you're going to work. Correct. So I still remember there was one of my job stints, I didn't know computers. I was not born with them. But the children are born with computers, literally. Okay, their first thing is a mobile phone or a laptop. As a parent, do you think you can actually go and tell them, I don't know to use a laptop? Yes. Right? That's reality check for all of us. Yeah. So, learning becomes integral. Today, your technology is evolving. You are from a basic Nokia 1100 to an iPhone to we are talking about phones which are equal to 2 lakhs today. So, you're talking about an evolving technology. You're talking about AI. Let's not even go until AI, right? Do you know how many apps are there on a mobile phone? Not the accurate number. Yes. Out of even those 50 apps, how many do you use? Probably 400 to 500 daily basis. Right? Then why do you have so many apps? Just because we have the luxury of having it. So yeah, so learning is continuous. Curiosity is important. The best thing that I do is, I just allow my son to play with the phone and he keeps telling me about the apps. I'm lazy because I don't have the patience to go through that screen time after a long day. So, talking to them enlightens you. Talking to them makes your life easy because you get more knowledge savvy. And when you're talking about these policies in HR, यहाँ पे लिखा है, आपकी लाइफ में लिखा नहीं है. True. Okay. But if you're not going to adapt and evolve, you're not going to exist.
True. And it has an impact on the company's revenue and growth as well.
Absolutely. If you're not curious, if you're not going to understand where your organization is going, your very purpose is defeated, isn't it?
True.
Why does a company hire you? The company hire you to do a job. The company hires you to grow the company. So my first question to most people I ask is, are you looking for a job or are you looking for a career? Correct. Very, very right question. I resource that. Please do. So that really helps. Then you will understand ये बंदा सीखेगा, scalable है, scalable नहीं है. That is something which a recruiter has to check. Right. Because when there's someone who is scalable, he'll be curious to learn. He will use your policies properly. He will respect the ecosystem that is there. And he is your long-standing employee. Correct. So yeah.
So, Jan, if you had to give founders one practical retention strategy that works across industries, what would it be?
I think if I have to tell founders one particular thing is, I know I might sound a little otherwise, but again, the most important thing is there are a lot of people who come into your organizations when you have founded the organizations. They are your loyalists. We get it. But having said that, as the company grows, yes, you need your loyalists. But when you're getting in talent, which is going to take your journey next, it's important that you allow people to do their job. Right? Okay. The reason why you're bringing in people is because you know that skill is currently missing in your organization. Okay. That means there's a lot of mental conditioning that has to be done to the people who have been in the system. Okay. Only then there will be a value add that happens from the people who are joining in, looking at the organization that you have built or the business empire that you have built. Right. Most often what happens is we bring in a lot of new talent. We do not know how to utilize them. Correct. And like I say, I frequently say that, loyalty is equal to, loyal does not equal to capability. Very true. I'm not telling you that they shouldn't be there. 100% they should be there. But we also have to tell them, Baba, what got us here will not take us further. Very true. So I guess that will be one major message I would give to the founders of organizations.
Right. So, a lot of the times, people don't pay real attention to the HR teams and their learning and development as well. Right. And I feel somewhere or the other, that's the main key where the whole organization can learn and develop.
Right.
What do you call this?
I think there are two parts to this entire thing, okay? Because the way HR has transitioned, I was very fortunate that I could get into different gamuts of HR. Right. So I transitioned from being into L&D to OD to HR business partnering to where I stand today. Has made me change as a person and adapt to the different roles. So that's when I tell people, I said, if you're into comp and win, not necessarily you're into comp and win, explore the other one. You need to have a COE experience. Right. Okay, you need to ensure that you're sticking to a COE. Today, my strength definitely is L&D. Of course, is organizational development and HR business. Right. Which form the three critical pillars of HR. Most important is when you are into HR, we're not a trend. Correct. I had one of my mentors, if I may take names, Mr. Suhas Atma. Every time we used to go to Telenor office in Delhi, he used to say, you guys are not upgraded. You guys not studying. Tomorrow AI, and I'm talking to you a long time back. Yeah. So he's very futuristic and he's still he's my go-to, very honestly speaking. And I'm talking to you how many years back? Almost 12 years back. Oh, okay. AI is going to eat your jobs. It's not the framework you make. HR is not transaction. HR is science. Correct. He was the one who actually imbibed the entire thing into my head, saying HR is science. You are dealing with intelligent human beings. You have to look at what an organization wants, understand the juncture of your organization, understand the vision of the organization. That for me is HR. Right. And since he was my mentor, he is my mentor, he will be my mentor. The concept of the one HR got into picture. Okay, so having said that, the most important thing is if you're not going to learn, you're not going to exist. Right. You will be status quo and we all very easily know that payroll will be the most simplest thing that will get automated.
Correct.
Correct. So if you are not going to move, or if you're not going to show that flexibility and adaptability, and most important, what is the output of HR? I mean, if I have to ask, say for instance, if I have to ask you, what is the output of HR? What would you say?
For me, it's like everything. Mostly it impacts the revenue, the culture, the growth of the company. For me, HR is like the most crucial part.
In simple words, HR is the heart of the organization.
Okay.
Right? If you are a founder driven organization, you run your own organization. Okay. The HR has to talk the language of the founder.
Correct.
HR is the voice of the leadership.
Correct.
And HR has also got to be critical wherein the leadership is not doing right. And for that, if you have to know, you have to know your business.
Correct.
So the biggest thing in HR, the learning part of it, if you ask, you have to understand what business you're in. That is the biggest record most of the HR people do. I mean, for HR out there. 3 months invest in understanding your business.
Correct.
Understand your role holders. Like it is science. Understand the science of your business. What works, what doesn't work. Understand from you. Spend time with your leadership to understand what this organization is. I had a very fascinating conversation today in the evening as I was leaving office with one of my senior leaders. The amount of storytelling I've had today has been fascinating. The biggest question I had is that what my employees know?
Jari.
Right? If I have to give you a fun fact, just for the conversation's sake, did you know that Bharati Airtel, Mr. Sunil Bharati Mittal started off from having a bicycle spoke manufacturing unit?
There's new information from.
Yeah. So if you are an employee, you have to know this.
Right.
You have to understand the journey of your organization to be able to believe in that organization and its
Very.
So as a HR, I mean, the passion has to be infectious. And that is my takeaway from Telenor. Okay, the passion that a HR person translates is very infectious. The HR person is actually the reason, okay, you resigned. Why did you resign? Hey, is everything all right with you?
True.
The tonality,
Yes.
none matters.
Very true. That human touch always like that.
Absolutely. And this is something which AI can't replace.
Exactly.
Okay, I was reading something interesting today in the morning. It was like, I have a 2-hour drive, so I kind of hear a lot of podcasts and things. So it said, we are all behind taking exit interviews and things like that. How about calling up one employee who's been at the organization to find out why he's staying?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so these are our breakthroughs in HR.
Right.
That's the only game changer today, right?
Very true.
So yeah, learning has to happen.
Yeah. That's very true. So let's come to the initial part of anybody's career, right? So students spend 4 to 5 years in college, but still aren't job ready. What's the missing link according to you in education and in?
I think the biggest thing is I've had a boy who's just graduated out of college. He's just finished his MBA finance. Now, I think apart from the tools that the college gives, the minute we say internship, in industries we use them only to do jobs which a normal employee will do. Okay, is that any value add to the student actually?
Yeah.
We are actually giving them a wrong definition of what it is to work in a corporate.
Correct.
Okay. An integrated curriculum where, even now we are talking about a graduation which is 3 years. Correct? Like, why not you have 1 year which is in between your 2 plus 1 plus 1? Correct. See, we are, as a human resources function or as a company, investing 1 month in an intern is not something which is going to be of any use to me. That, right? We're just going to use it for filing or some data entry work, or maximum that you do in HR is you may give them a file of 1,000 people, ask them to call. Right. We do. But what is the learning that an individual gets? I might say that, okay, I worked in XYZ company and I worked there for 3 months as an intern. The company might have a good name. Assumption as a new person who's hiring that person, I might always think, oh, this person has done it, so he might. But actually, hota nahi hai. Right. So that is why they are not industry ready. Correct. And when you're talking about our curriculum and also, even in terms of HR or things, if you go to the these schools, when you are actually seeing a lot of case studies coming in, you get a lot of exposures, you get a lot of people from the industry who come and talk to you. Okay, and unfortunately, even in that, there is a small thing, when people actually go to the campuses to talk, there are very few subject matter experts who talk case study based.
Very true.
And again, that's the power of storytelling.
Yeah.
Okay, why do we even remember the cockroach theory? A Sundar Pichai's cockroach theory. That cockroach died long time ago, alag baat hai. But the way he positioned it and where he spoke about it was more important. Right. So again, that is when the children are not industry ready today. And there's a complete mismatch between what they, like say for instance, I get into a college, the college fees is 10 lakhs. The aspirations are, the parents actually take loans, ensure that the children get into the college, and when the campus comes, they get salaries of 3 lakhs. So there's a complete mismatch. I've had a fancy college, I'm in an upmarket college. Okay, I've seen friends come in, say a Mahindra Scorpio. If नौकरी के लिए जाना, मेरे हाथ में 20,000 रुपए आ रहे. So the morale of the student also comes down, and that the campus also fails in terms of hiring.
Right.
Okay. Second thing is, not everybody can afford a B school. And somewhere organizations also have to be clear saying which segment of college suits your company. Okay. You always can't go to the A category and get people at a lesser price because, okay, they're not getting placed.
Right.
You bring them in. Tomorrow, after 1 year, this person leaves. Because you realize that, okay, these guys were not definitely the cream that were there. Nothing. Then, you went and got saying, oh, I went to this A particular college and I got it. But in A particular college also, we have people who are not greatly academically inclined.
Yeah.
Okay, you get them, but give them relevant.
Very true.
And most organizations are not investing like most of the multinationals do. You have a 1 month training or something to get them ready. But most of the Indian countries do not.
Correct.
So your campus to corporate bridge is not greatly aligned.
Very true.
And then again, the biggest challenge is the campus has not got them mentally conditioned.
Very true. So I've seen one thing here, like, have you seen it? Let me know. So nowadays students are much more money oriented than experience oriented, right at the start of their careers.
Right. That is true, no? Like I said, if I'm spending 10 lakhs for my education, a 3 lakh is hardly anything. 3 lakh money usko kaat koot ke aayega haath mein 2,20,000. I mean, 22,000 rupees what he gets.
Right.
Will that excite me? And a student who is going to a college where 10 lakhs is your college fees, okay, he or she must be coming from a good family wherein both the parents are working and they have a certain set lifestyle.
Right.
So the pressure on the students today to earn that money from the word go is very high.
Yeah.
And the problem is not everybody gets into these schools.
Right.
Okay. So again, getting back to the schooling system that we have, that somewhere we are faltered. Majorly and sadly but true, we are still faltering.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the expectation, and parents also like, no, I could not do my MBA. So you please do your MBA, go to this college, do your MBA. That pressure is equally high on the student.
True.
Okay, so that's what I keep telling people. I said, there's one of my friends who's a student counselor. And he does an assessment called the strong assessment and then does career counseling. He said, yeah, it is so hard to see this. He says that I, being a parent, I realize that I've been harsh on my son. Okay. And he's like, how did you do it? I said, I just told him, please go finish your education. Tell me how much fees I need to pay. Padna tumko hai. Please remember, end of the day, whatever course you're taking, you have to come with a distinction. I am not going to give you tuition. I'm not going to sit up with you.
Correct.
Okay, because one thing which I am very confident, if you are hardworking, if you have a good education, and you are capable enough to build yourself, careers will open.
Right.
I think somewhere as parents, I mean, I've realized it over a period of time. Now, since both my boys have finished education, it becomes important for us to own it up.
Right.
And again, like what a lot of people in the past said when we were growing up, don't put your aspirations on children. So yeah, I guess that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah, that panga is there.
Correct.
Because everyone wants 6 lakhs ka salary.
Right. Right. So if, we can just pinpoint at one key redesign part of the education system, what would it be according to
I think it has to be more kinesthetic. I mean, we have suddenly started focusing on Power BI and, Excel sheets. Baba, even you are teaching them how to do it.
Yeah.
My logic is only one thing. Input rahega to output rahega.
Right.
It's important that you tell them why they are doing what they are. I think that part of it is completely missing. You are doing a Power BI. Why are you doing that dashboard? It's not skill there. It's a why part of it.
So parents still push kids into safe careers, right? Like mostly IT and all, despite all the layoff stories that we listen, like that is also because of oversupply. So what's the real risk of this mindset today?
See, the real risk is every job can be laid off. Okay. And there's one strong realization that a lot of young children today are coming across is be your own boss, like you are. And the second thing is also the fact that there's nothing more special than having skills in your hand. Okay, that's why today people are moving towards more careers like cookery. They're getting to being, opening their own pastry or, a cloud kitchen or, services. Most of your startups are around that. But again, the parents push. I have one instance I would want to share is I know of someone. He was pushed into getting into an engineering course. And so finally she went to a calling wherein she is a founder of an NGO. Okay. I always keep asking people who come from big B sports, why did you do your engineering and come to HR? Like, हम तो आर्ट्स पढ़ के HR में आप इंजीनियरिंग पढ़ के क्यों आ रहे हो? हमारी नौकरी क्यों छीन रहे हो? So, and most often the answer I get is I didn't do it because I want. Right. I mean, that position or that admission would have been so priceless for someone who wanted to use.
Exactly.
Right. So again, that is where the peer pressure comes in. But again, like I would like to get back to what I said. Every education has got a career today. I think it's about time that we as parents or, you just allow the child to be his or her own. Okay. Have the confidence that you brought them up, right? And I think it's about time yet again for us to realize don't impose your aspirations on them.
Right.
I am a software engineer, my son will be a software engineer. He will go to DIT, he will make himself thing, and then that guy will go and do HR and join into HR. So why are you actually extending that child's education when he's very clear or she's very clear कि graduation कर रहे हैं MBA कर रहे हैं. Right. We are actually giving them a delayed career start. Okay, so yes, there is, and every job is, you are replaceable in every job.
Right.
Okay. I can give you an example where a few set of students had gone into one of this new startups in Bangalore. They had gone there for internship. They were hired as interns, but they were expected to work as a full-time employee.
Okay.
Okay. They got so demotivated because the internship paid them 45,000 rupees a month.
Yeah.
But they were very excited about the money. When they came out after 2 months, they felt like a failure.
Really?
Okay, this is a classic example. Now, do you think tomorrow they'll have the confidence to get into the big world of corporate?
No, training.
They're not going to be 100% ready. Again, it's very simple. Ka kaan pe bharosa. So now the world is slowly tending towards that, wherein be your own boss. Your parents have given you earlier when we were growing up more, we always had a problem saying that, हमारे सर पे छत नहीं है. Today, most of the parents ensure that the child has a chap, right, and a decent amount of bank balance.
Correct.
Okay, then allow the child to do what they want. Na?
Right.
That's something which we were not privileged. So,
Right.
it's an extreme case. Either it's this way or that way. In moderation, simply yes.
Right.
So, I come from a joint family. My mother's parenting style and my parenting style is very different.
Yeah.
Okay. And she has been a school principal. The way she looks at careers and education and job is very different to what I look at.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that doesn't work in a corporate. So yeah, I mean, that's the way it is. That's I don't know when that paradigm shift is going to happen. It happen. The faster it happens, it's the better.
Right. So as parents, how do parents figure out, where our child can fit better? So in the initial conversation, you mentioned something about psychometric tests and assessments, self-assessments. So make more better decisions. So even nowadays, when I see students, they are very confused, right? On what career to choose, what career not. So what are such practical self-assessment or psychometric tools that they can use which can help them figure out their careers?
I think the classic and the old way to do it is please write as many competitive exams you can. The government competitive exams are pretty evolved. So like, okay, one is as a child, as a parent, it is important that, first of all is align the child to some national level jobs, even if it's an NG, even if it's CDS, things like that. That brings in a lot of competitiveness and helps you analyze where you stand.
Right.
I mean, that's a very basic thing. We're not asking about any fancy psychometry. Okay, that gives a lot of confidence on whether this particular child is good in its analytics. That's reasonable. Okay. When you go for these competitive classes, it's not that you need to get that job, but that exposure is extremely important. One. And the second thing is catch them young. Okay, the formative years is not your 11th and 12th. The formative years is your 8th, 9th, 10th. Correct. Okay, that's when you're actually vacillating between where exactly you want to go. Whether you want to go to sciences, whether you want to go to mathematics. And in 11th and 12th, go in for a psychometric evaluation. And I think it's important, a psychometric evaluation happens in 3 folds. One is the evaluation of the tool. The first is the counseling of the parents and the counselor on the psychometric evaluation. And the second fold is the student and the parents along with the counselor. So it's very important that the family is also involved. The pressure comes from there. Pressure doesn't come from outside. Second kind of pressure comes if my friend got a admission in Symbiosis Pune, I want to go to Pune. Right. So, but is it relevant to you? If you ask me, okay, is Symbiosis Pune, I've got a seat in economics, should I go? Hands down, yes. Yeah. Right? So again, the thing is, how much do you know your child? Okay. We all try to be friends to our children. Yeah. Okay. You also have to be a parent and a responsible. Okay. So it is basically a journey that you go along with them. It's not about the grades, but the grades also do not give you an entry. When we HR people are interviewing, we ask pass hua hai, first attempt pass hai, that's it. How many of us actually go through the grids?
Not at all.
Yes, and until that number is exceptional, we say, wow, that's a good number.
Yes.
Do you acknowledge if someone has got 53%? It's okay. You graduated from Senior School. Oh, that's nice. Right? Numbers don't hold weightage there. Right? So the first thing is 8, 9, 10 se samjho. Understand the child's journey because it's a career option. It does not that course liya tha beech mein chhod sakte. Okay, I can give you a classic example. My son is an MSc food technologist. He studied from Loyola Chennai. He's one of the top from that college. Now, they make hit.
Right.
The industry went downhill. Right? The next option is like, what do I do? He said, the SWOT analysis of yourself.
Right.
This is the next industry that you can work in. Boys being boys, and he is an automobile freak. So now he's an electric vehicle specialist.
Great.
Okay. Allow them to think. Their journey is their journey. You can't, I'm not telling you I'm a great mom. I'm like, naukri usko karna hai. He has to go to work 9 to 12 hours.
Right.
He has to enjoy his journey. I can't live this life.
Correct.
So stop living their life.
Right.
So, I mean, that's how it is. So, in short, if I have to say that, it is do what is required. Stand your child.
Right.
Don't put your points for them to understand.
Right.
This helps. This worked for me for sure.
Right.
That's it.
That's great. That's great. So let's finally talk about AI. Right. So, what is your take on, the whole hype about AI taking your jobs? Right. What role AI is playing into HR? And what are the new career opportunities, even when it comes to HR? AI has got it.
See, I think I would go back to what Sohal sir told us long time back, being very futuristic. AI will take jobs. AI will take jobs if you're not going to evolve.
Right.
You have to learn to evolve.
Correct.
Second thing is there are pros and cons to whatever comes in terms of technology.
Right.
Mobile phones, instead of using it as mobile phones, we have started using mobile phones and alarm clocks. We started using it as, video gaming thing. The very purpose of the mobile phone is what? The very purpose of a mobile phone is conversation.
Right.
The conversations change to text.
Correct.
The texts are often most, misinterpreted.
Very.
Okay. So again, what is the purpose of AI? Artificial intelligence. Can it beat human intelligence? Not to a great extent. It is very smart that it picks up your own queries and makes a synopsis of it and throws it to you.
Correct.
Okay. I would just like to quote only one thing. One of my CEOs in the past used to say, Priya, nakal ke liye bhi akal ki zarurat hai.
Right.
Okay. I might have the best of the technology, but if I do not know how to use the technology, then we are failing the technology.
Then
a human mind is much more stronger than any artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is artificial. It is just a support system.
Yeah.
And most often what I'm seeing is people use AI as Google or Excel. I've actually seen one of them use a chat GPT as a therapist.
Yeah.
Oh, that's larger. Positions are ending now.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, what does it change in HR domain is really two things. One is it makes life easy for the cumbersome process like your file management, your data analytics, and wherein every time you need some data, we had to either open up hard copy files and everything. It makes life easy. It makes decision making fast.
Very much.
And it is actually because of the amount of data that it can simplify for us. What is we are going towards more doable and
Right.
see, having actionables is not the right thing. Having doable actionables is realistic actionables is important.
Correct.
Okay, so since the data crunching has become easy, It has made life easy on the strategy front.
Right.
Okay. The second most important thing is where it's actually challenging is your transition between Excel to BI. But Excel has got its significance, BI has got its significance.
Right.
Okay. Can they both replace each other? I have my own doubts. Okay. When you're talking about AI, what else does the AI do? AI tells you things which are industry best practice. Your market intelligence. Again, coming back to the very quality of a human resource person, when you're talking to people, what are you doing currently with me? You have to pick up market insights.
Right.
Okay. How well you are documenting it and how well are you using it for the purpose of your organization is a skill on its own. Correct. Which is a rare skill in today's world. Right. Okay. So having said that, AI, is it replacing jobs in HR? Not really.
Fair.
Okay. It is just trying to make us a slightly more lazy, I would say, because it is hitting on the recruitment front really bad.
Yeah.
How is it helping in strategic alignment? Data crunching has got a lot more easier.
Yeah.
Decision making has got a lot more easier because earlier we used to spend hours together on data crunching.
Right.
Now data crunching has become a lot more easier. Third is it is giving us a structured way of thoughts. Like say for instance, when you're talking about, okay, how do I make my EOP presentation?
Right.
Okay, earlier when we used to put into Google, it used to be very difficult for us to even do a cost per hire.
Right.
Okay, you have information access, but it's an individual skill how you're using that information. It's not going to do your job.
Right.
It will help you do your job better.
Correct.
The faster you understand it, the better.
Right.
So I guess that will be my take on AI. Like I said, we are people before mobile phones and after mobile.
Right.
Right? This after you accept that this is your new norm and do not use Google as AI as Google.
Yeah. That's so. Do you see any underrated career paths which would thrive in the coming 5 years or say that parents and students often over?
Oh, there are quite a few. You know, there are a lot on research sustainability that's happening. There are a lot of work happening on, quality. Okay, quality. And there's a lot of work happening, like in real estate. There's a lot of good work that is happening on technology, construction material.
Okay.
Okay. There's a lot of good work happening on food in the food industry. If I have to say, talking about wellness. Wellness is an industry that's looking up for. Psychology is another one. See, AI can partially hit this industry, but not everything. Right? You still need a therapist. You still need a career counselor. You will still need a counselor who's probably talking about wellness. Okay. That human touch is extremely important. Psychology is going to thrive for sure. Sustainability kind of careers, recycling careers are going to take. People who are into customer relationship management. I somehow have a gut which says that though AI and bots are replacing it, we will eventually get back to the human touch.
Same.
Yeah, because I hate talking to an IVF.
Same. I was having this discussion recently. I got a call one day and I was so furious after that call. I was like, I did not enjoy the experience at all. I did not even let it speak one sentence. I straight away cut the call.
Yeah.
So exactly.
So we will want, because India is still a touch and feel market.
Correct.
We still love going and buying sabzi outside, while you might have a big basket giving you the best of the out.
Yeah.
And somewhere I think we are also getting closer to roots. I don't know me, but in the recent past, even in my society, I've had people who are recommending vendors to come to sell vegetables.
Yeah.
Not the supermarkets.
Correct.
So I guess, like I said earlier also, I believe and I've seen, how blessed is this generation that you have a course which talks about perfume. A
Right.
course that talks about wine, a course that talks about beer making.
Correct.
Okay, we are talking about a cloud kitchen. We are talking about automobiles. We are talking about EVs.
Yeah.
And the Made in Bharat is actually making a lot of waves. Because culture is booming. So everything is not an opportunity. But yes, the human touch will be there. I guess there will be probably 2 years from now, whenever we are connecting, and you and me are going to laugh over what we spoke tonight.
Yes.
You and will see, probably we were right then.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's where we are. I mean,
Yeah.
whole careers coming up.
Correct.
So I guess the more you are aware, the farther you get.
Correct. Very true. So you let your own kid, right, choose their own career paths, right? What do you think about trusting the next generation and what potential do they hold?
See, I think I come from a lineage where trust was non-negotiable in the family.
Hmm.
I think my mom was a working mother, my dad was always traveling, and whatever we studied, and my brother has been a foundation for me ever since I was a little one.
Hmm.
Trust was completely. It was like, कुछ है नहीं है, भरोसा है.
Yeah.
And that's something which I have translated even into the boys when growing up, because I was very clear. I didn't like my college because my friends were not there.
Hmm.
And I know how much I struggled for that 2 years to finish my intermediate. I had friends in college, and that's when you need friends. Okay, so I was very clear, let them know what they want, because they have to enjoy the journey of learning. If you're going to enjoy your journey of learning, you will not be successful in whatever you do later.
Right.
Post education will get you a graduation. So I was the only question I had is, do I want a graduation or do I want my child to enjoy studying? So I guess I had my message very clear. I wanted them to enjoy the journey of studying. It's a process of self-discovery.
Correct.
Right? And like I said, a person like me, I've had a crazy stint from a telephone operator to where I am today.
Right.
And I could make a career, I'm sure they would too.
Right.
And this has happened only because my parents trusted me. And I think, the biggest success I would say as a parent that has happened is they don't need to come and report to me what they are doing.
Right.
They come to me because they want.
Yes.
They want to, they know that, okay, if they're coming to me for an advice, they get the right.
True.
And I think that's the faith my parents also had on me. Most important to my brother. So, like recently my son was saying, to be a million things, man. But I know only one thing. If there's anything in my life that goes wrong in my career, my personal life, I know if I come to you, I'll get the right advice. And then, like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's not about bragging because, these are things which are never. When it's a thing, it means that you're probably in the right direction.
Correct. Very.
So, that's where it is. So, बच्चे खुश तो हम खुश.
Yeah. Exactly. Looking forward to achieve that one. And that's something I would really learn, in the conversations that we have going forward as well.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the best victory you can ever have.
Actually.
Yes. So, because I had a friend of mine who said, you have two boys, Priya. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, so what? I was mighty cheese that. I'm like, so what? Said, you give two good human beings to this.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, fine, take. Like, so end of discussion. I'm like, I don't want robots.
Exactly.
The world need good people, will ensure we give them.
Yes. Very nice. Very nice to hear that. So if you could read one message each for a HR leader, a business owner, a job seeker, and a parent, what would it be?
For a HR leader, please do not forget the H in HR.
Oh my God. Right. Oh.
Okay, so and for a business leader, the business runs on human resources,
Yes.
right? And the third is as a parent,
Job seeker and parent.
job seeker, don't get so desperate to pick up options which are not meant to be yours.
Yeah.
It's okay if it's delayed by a day.
Right.
Okay, the world is big enough that you'll find a space.
Right.
And as a parent, your dreams are yours.
Yeah.
Keep it to yourself.
It's the best advice.
Absolutely. It's simple. G or G, though. Very true. I'm sure I'm going to get repercussions for it, but I'm not alone. Being a Sakshi, yeah, right? Geo, that's it. Very nice. Very nice.
So with this, we come to an end of the questions, though.
That's it.
Amazing conversation. I should say, learned a lot, and probably the audience who are watching would also learn a lot.
I hope so too.
Yeah. Thank you, Priya. Uh, that's what the podcast was on. Let's come to our versions of camera. Thank you. Really, genuinely, thank you so much. It was great talking to you. I have learned a lot, honestly. I know people who would be listening in the HR industry, parents, students, kids out there would also learn a lot from this conversation. And amazing, yeah, it's amazing to know you as a person also.
Same here. I mean, I should thank Brunal for that.
Yeah,
See, I've been missing our calls. I need to call her back.
the other day she was telling me that I was not well. Priya had called me. I'm going to give her a call back. I was like, yeah, you should.
No, it's been like kind of too tight. I mean, it's like, tomorrow morning, 7:30, I'll have to run to work. So
I'm so sorry to be doing this for me.
I really wanted to do this because this is something which was on my bucket list for a long time.
Yeah.
I've got so stuck with my routine that I really do not get time to do something which I really want. Thank you. I should thank you. So,
The pleasure is all mine. Pleasure is all.
And thank you for accommodating my crazy schedule. I'm sure there's a team which is with you.
Yeah.
My big thank you to them as well. And I'm looking forward, and I will definitely collaborate with you. Definitely let me know what are the kind of people you want to meet up.
Sure. And
Be rest assured on the lineup.
yeah.
Okay. So you want people from the automobile industry, I can get you a CEO who's been in the industry. So you name it. If it's useful for you, move it to collaborate.
Done. That. So I have not explored a lot of the industries yet. But if something comes to your mind also and you feel, that would be great, go ahead. We can always have a conversation to figure out a thought here.
So let me know what is the vision of your entire thought. Because I did see your first podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. So the second one, you're talking about HR and things like that. So you can just give me a story, tell saying that, okay, where do you want to go with it?
Right.
Need us to talk about it.
Done. I have a manifesto ready, so probably I can share that also across, with the whole vision and everything carrying it.
So that we can have a season 1 and a season 2 kind of a thing.
Yes.
Because the storytelling has to be seamless.
Correct. Very. We will keep it going.
Absolutely. Okay. And any other support, do let me know.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll probably trouble you on Saturdays and Sundays. It's not on the week.
Anytime. And like I said, the problem is my cabin is like this size and I have 4 people around me. Like, that's a challenge. So next year is not here because it happens from beneath the table. Correct. You say, bad with my head, what are you doing there? You have to. Yeah, I don't have a choice. Anyways, Chalo, you take care. Let's see. Let me in case you need anything.
Done. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll convey that to them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.